People seem to have this weird idea that the overhead press is a good exercise for the middle delts. And today I'm going to debunk that with my bones and with Frank here, and I'm going to make it super freaking simple to understand. Okay, so first of all, when we're talking about an overhead press, we have to identify the position that we're actually looking at. When we're doing an overhead press, and I'm talking about like a true, like my arms are as this way as it gets, and I'm trying to just press vertically like this, okay? Maybe a slight arch is fine. It will all kind of be similar. What we're talking about is we're talking about getting the arm into a relatively externally rotated position. This is what external rotation looks like, okay? Because if we're doing dumbbell, barbell, machine, cable, whatever, we have to be able to get our arm this way to be able to go that way with our arm, okay? So given that our arm is in this externally rotated position, to understand what is contracting, what is doing the work, we have to first ask, well, what is the load of the exercise doing to our bodies? Okay, we have a load in our hand, it's pushing our arm down, okay? So what that means is that we need muscles on the top side of this joint, right? Because if the arm is getting pushed down, muscles that bridge the top side of this gap will be the thing to pull the arm upward, right? Because let's say the lats, just as a kind of silly, maybe obvious example, the lats pull down like this. You see this yellow thing, everyone? The lats pull in that downward direction. So if the lats pull the arm down, well, that can't possibly help us push upward. We need something that is basically a lat equivalent that is pulling upward on this bone to move the arm overhead. Okay, now this is where the discussion needs to get more specific, because then the question is, well, which of these muscles is on the top side of this bone and can actually pull the arm upward? And here I'm going to make a little bit of a fun demonstration. Okay, so this is a right arm, right upper arm. It's called the humerus. Here's your shoulder blade, right? So shoulder in socket. Okay, and the position that we need to put our arm in to press overhead, again, is that externally rotated position. So here's like what a neutral position would be. So what we need to do, and I'm going to show you the movements with my actual arm here in parallel, is we need to raise our arm upward and then go like this, okay? So you see what I just did? We need to raise the arm upward and then go like this. That's the overhead press position. So that's me raising the arm upward, okay? Going like that. That's what I'm mimicking. Now, okay, here's the fun part. I'm going to draw the insertion points of the middle and the front delt, okay? Bear with me. This is raw, uncut, unedited. I only got one chance because it's gonna look really funny if I screw it up. So I'm gonna draw the front delt in blue. We're just gonna make it big so that the point can be clear, okay? And I'm gonna draw the middle delt in red. Also big and clear. Okay, so blue and red. You can see it? Hopefully you can see it clearly enough. So the blue, the front delt, is actually kind of more on the front. Okay, it makes sense. The middle delt's more on the side. I think I drew these a little bit too high. The insertion's actually a little bit lower down here. Doesn't matter, the point will hold true. Okay, so what happens now if I go like this, and then I do this? What is on the top? Okay, what you will note is that, hopefully this is clear, is that when I go like this to get into an overhead press position, what is on top of this bone, in other words, what can pull this arm upward, is the blue, okay? Because what happens to the red, I'll look from this angle. The red, when I go like this, the red moves backward, okay? So you all see how the red is backward and the blue is actually on top. So what does this mean? Well, it means that the blue is now capable of pulling this way, and the red is capable of pulling what way? This way, okay? So this is why if you get on if you do like a reverse fly, let's say, and you do a reverse fly like this, you're going from here to here, okay? Even just grab a cable, point your biceps to the ceiling like this, and do a reverse fly, okay? You will feel the red. Why will you feel the red? Because when you move into this overhead press position and the red can pull now backward, well, that's a reverse fly motion, okay? And so when you push upward, right, It's not the red that is capable of pulling upward, it's actually the blue. So the question really ultimately just comes down to, when you put your arm in this position, what is capable of pulling the arm upward? Well, if I show you now on Frank, middle delt in blue, front delt in yellow, okay? What happens to the blue? Watch the blue. When I go like this, it moves to that back side, okay? And what happens to the yellow? It gets put on top. So these guys are capable of then pulling up. These guys are not really capable of doing that. If anything, from this position, they are really just trying to basically stabilize the arm in this direction, okay? So this is why there are a lot of people now who are saying, overhead press, great middle delta exercise. No, for all of time, people were like, oh, middle delt, yes, lateral raise, thumbs up. For good reason. Why? Because a lateral raise does not put your arm into this position, right? And if any of you want to test this, by the way, you don't have to take my word for it, okay? Take your arms and rotate them outward like this, right? Because again, this is the overhead press position. Take your arms, rotate them outward, so like you're about to do a biceps curl, and then just do raises out to the side. This thing that I'm doing here is the same as if I just had my elbows bent, pretty much in terms of the shoulder. So turn your palms to the ceiling and do raises out to the side. And you all tell me, do you feel more of this on the front, okay? Or do you feel more of this on the side? And in contrast to that, do a set like this, and then flip your arms down to the floor and do a set like this. This is that same concept, because what you're doing is you're starting palms up like this, front delta's on top. Now you go to the palms down. Oh, guess what? Now the front delta is what? On the front, so it's pulling this way. And now the middle delt can be the thing to pull the arm up and out to the side. So I hope these visuals cleared up some confusion for you all. Again, if your goals are front delt specific, overhead press away. If your goals are middle delt specific, lateral raise away.